in my house.
Sure is quiet. Some great minds at work or something. Unless everybody's tired. Good luck.
Overthinking, I guess.
Yeah, that's what yeah.
I'm waiting for that rain to come on. Like those leaves are turned upside down.
Yeah,
We do need it rain now.
for sure. It was supposed to rain earlier today, like it started at noon and turned out pretty sunny. So
I was looking at my office window all day, I'm like, is it raining? And I think it must have been AC or something.
tomorrow it looks like rain. So. Have you guys set a date for the trick or treat night in October by chance?
I don't think we want that.
I don't think it's probably,
Our church usually does a big event, and I was told this weekend, I was asking about it, and they said, well, we wait for the borough to set a trick or treat night, and we go the same night, so, I don't know. And then Halloween is on Saturday.
that's what I was just checking.
Yeah. So,
Yes, it
Okay, it is now 7 o'clock. You all rise. Anyone who does not want to be present during the prayer? Okay, we have Pastor Hendren with us this evening from the Glendale Assembly of God in Coalport. Can you please open us in prayer?
fantastic. Thank you, guys. Lord Jesus, we want to thank you for the leadership in our community. I pray, God, that your blessings would be upon them, upon their families, upon our community as well, Lord Jesus says. We've been blessed through this coronavirus situation, Lord Jesus, with no deaths in our county. We want to thank you for that. I pray, God, that tonight, Lord, and in future meetings, Lord God, that you would give our councilmen and women, Lord, wisdom and direction, Father, for our community. And they have their hearts' desire for what's best in our community. I pray that you would open their eyes, give them great wisdom and continued leadership in our community. In the wonderful name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
President Gordon Trent,
Here.
Vice President Kevin Suarez,
Here.
Robert Lee,
Here.
LaDonna Ingram,
Here.
Sean Ingram,
Here.
Mayor Margaret Madalena.
Here.
Actually, I want to take my son down too. Gotta go to games.
That's important.
He's got some money on some Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, guys. I'm much earlier today. Oh, no problem. But I saw Dave out here too. So. Thank you, guys.
Great, thank you.
Have a great night.
You too.
We have had several, before we go any further, we have had several comments about residents that would like to have us go back to the reading of the minutes out loud. So I'm bringing that to the table.
The Coalport Council is now considering reading verbosely the Coalport Borough Council meeting of the previous month and the special meetings. And according to Title 65, 710.1, the public is permitted to make comments on any issue brought before council before the council votes. So it is very necessary for the public to hear the minutes of the previous meeting that is now under deliberation before the Honorable Council, and it should be read aloud or verbosely presented to the public so they can hear, and if they wish to make comments, would be permitted by law to make comments prior to a vote of council. Thank you, council, for considering reading the council minutes of previous meeting verbosely. Thank you.
I can't make a motion, so it's up to y'all whether.
I want to better understand what you're saying.
Okay, well, we, as a council, get the minutes and we look over them and we state whether we approve them or any corrections or any changes that need made, and then we approve them. We used to read the minutes out loud and then we would comment what kind of corrections or changes or whatever needed to be made. So what would happen is, if y'all are agreeable to it, one of you have to make a motion to go back to reading the minutes out loud, which means our secretary will read the minutes and before they're approved, with any corrections or changes or whatever. And somebody has to second it. And then we will go back to that way of doing it again. Lots of municipalities no longer do that. That's a changing practice. But that's the way things used to be done in these. And that's entirely up to y'all. But
You said the request came from.
there have been people who have asked why it was no longer done. It was a time-consuming factor, such as tonight we have the audit meeting, we have the last regularly scheduled meeting. That she would be, she does not have to read committee meeting minutes because that's not an actual meeting where we make any, what she gives us here is just for our benefit. That is not an actual regularly scheduled meeting where decisions or anything are made, but the other meetings, she would have to read the minutes on. So that's entirely.
I think it's a good idea to read the minutes for the people out there that are viewing the meetings. Because they do not know what we are approving, even though if they're regular viewers, perfectly aware of different things that we would be approving. But I think that it just helps people out there that are watching the program.
So we just go on previous or before, right?
Yeah, it would be, the minutes would consist of, like, this is an August meeting, so it would be July's meeting and then any special meeting that we had within the month of July prior to our regularly scheduled meeting.
Well, I motion to do the meeting minutes right before we start our regular meeting. Is that?
You make the motion to go back to reading the minutes of the.
I do.
She said before the meeting starts.
Well, before, like, it'll be the first thing started.
Okay, so what it would be is you make a motion to read the minutes out loud prior to
Yes,
approving.
prior
the
to our
meeting.
meeting, yes.
No, it's not prior to the meeting. It's during the
The
meeting.
meeting starts.
So what I need you to verbalize is that you make a motion to read the minutes of the previous meetings out loud.
Yes, I motion to read the minutes of the board, yes.
Do I have a second?
Awesome.
Any discussion?
Thank you, Councillor.
Does the public have the
Yes, with discussion. Yeah,
view minutes at any time upon appointment?
not until they're approved.
Oh, okay.
The minutes have to be approved before, the public can view them. They
Right.
have to be approved meeting minutes. Let's say Noel made a mistake. What in the world is that?
Sorry, I didn't get my volume turned off.
That's one for you, Reverend Ray.
That's a job, is what it is.
Let's say that Noel made a mistake in the minutes. And what happens is, if somebody has access to the minutes before they're approved, they're not official minutes, and therefore they cannot be entered as record of the Borough Council minutes. And they have to be an accurate record. So therefore, the public should not have access to those minutes until they're actually made public record. So they have to be approved by the council first.
Okay.
And that's why it's important for them to be accurate and approved by the council for accuracy. And that's what some people don't understand, the difference between the public viewing the minutes prior to approval and us trying to hide the minutes. We're not trying to hide the minutes, we're trying to make sure they're accurate beforehand.
Yeah, they were done, I mean, we did this when, Mrs. Lucas was president too, so, that's when that passed. Again, I just think it's time consuming, and, as long as we know, they can, either come to a meeting and watch it. I just,
Title 60.
how much are they gonna understand when we read it to them, especially if somebody's reading quickly? How much are they really gonna take it at?
But in the same respect, we're doing corrections at the same time of the reading. But they have to pay attention to
And
those
before we
corrections.
had them emailed to us.
Title 65, I'm sorry.
You want it sent too, that's the bad part. There's people-
I think it's a good idea, because if somebody misses a meeting or doesn't review it, then we can, when we're going through it, then they kind of know what's going, you know what I mean? Especially if somebody's reading the minutes from the previous one.
And I,
Right here.
Mr. Spade, you had a comment?
Title 65, I think it's 701.1. It says that anything that you're determined, voting on, that the public has a right under the Sunshine Law, and that's the Sunshine Law 65, that we have a right to make comments. So if we would see something in the minutes, and I appreciate the councilors making the motion in a second, and I hope it passes, that the public can see your deliberation, that's the word I was looking for, deliberation. When you're deliberating on something, the public has a right to make comment.
And that's the reason why there is a comment when we make a motion. There is a first, there is a second, there is a time that I give everybody the right to comment,
Thank you.
including the public that is sitting here. And then I ask if all are in favor and if there's anybody against. And there's a difference between, voting for a ordinance or a resolution and making a motion. Like, we're making a motion to read the minutes, but again, those minutes have to be approved as being accurate. I can't, have a public record as being a record of what goes on here you know, not being accurate. You know, those have her signature, and the council seal, the borough seal is being placed on these minutes. And they have to be approved before they can be even hung on the wall to be seen by the public. Anybody can come up and look and read those minutes, but they have to be accurate first. They have to be voted on first as being accurate. Anybody else have any comments?
The president of council is trying to purport an idea that anything that council does needs to be done in secret before the public can see it. Any proposal that is made by council should have a time of notice and availability for the public to see a purported idea. The idea that a record should not be shown, a proposed record should not be shown, is ludicrous and unlawful. The public has the right to know what the council is going to do or is proposing to do, and all deliberation must be in the public view. Council cannot do things in the secret and then come out and say that they did it. And that is the confusion that the president is trying to purport. She is explaining that a record is not public until it is acted upon. And that is correct. A public record is a public record when council votes. But a proposal or a motion to do something like that should be in the public domain and viewed by the public prior to. So there's no reason that a proposed minutes could not be seen by the public, that they may review them and suggest corrections or show errors in the minutes prior to the vote. That is good government when a proposal is viewed by the public. Thank you.
All those in favor signify by aye. Opposed? You're opposed. Okay, so we have, I didn't vote yet.
See, we were wasting time when she didn't have business.
I'm sorry, Kevin.
It's all right, that's okay.
I didn't.
That's why we do a vote.
I know. And I know that this was a time factor, and that's why we did what we did. I'm gonna vote yes.
Thank you, Madam President.
Motion carried. Noel, would you please read the meeting minute for the regularly scheduled?
Regularly scheduled meeting of Coalport Borough, July 6, 2020. Meeting called to order at 7:06 p.m. in the community room. Moment of silence, pledge of allegiance, roll call attendance. President Barbie Trent, Vice President Kevin Squager, Ladon Yingling, Sean Yingling, Mayor Margaret Madalena. Absent council member was Robert Lee. Presentation of meeting minutes for June 1st, 2020. Ladon Yingling made a motion to accept the meeting minutes with additions and/or corrections. Sean Yingling second, all ayes, motion carried. Visitors and guests were Diane Byers, Ian Gableson, Mike Delphos, Walt Huey, Mary Tatum, Gerald Spade, and Jack Lang. Mary Tatum told council that the grant paperwork was started. Each municipality will be trying for 2 properties to be demolished. Mary Tatum recommends that the council meet with their political contacts to get their backing on the grant. Gerald Spade showed concerns about the IRS audits and the grants. Gerald Spade requests that he be present for the meeting with the auditors. Old business, Walter Huey gave an update on what happened to the zero-turn mower. Dan Miles had fixed the mower. The insurance claim was canceled. The minute mark court date will be July 29th, 2020 at 11 a.m. in the annex courtroom. New business, Jack Root submitted his resignation from the Water Authority. President Trent wants interested parties to submit letters to council before the next council meeting. An ad will be placed in the progress and a post will be made on Facebook. People interested must live within the borough or be a business owner in the borough. President Trent read Jack Root's resignation letter to council. Vice President Swager made a motion to accept the resignation letter. LaDon Yingling seconded the motion. All ayes, motion carried. President Trent believes it would be in the best interest of the borough to put an ad in the paper for the secretary position. Vice President Swager would like to hold off on the ad until he can speak to a possible interested person. LaDon Yingling and Sean Yingling agreed that it would be a good idea to wait. LaDon Yingling gave all wishes to Secretary Trent. President Trent reported that someone was cutting trees on Main Street. A police report was filed. Walter Ruby will be doing tree trimmings in the borough to ensure that signs are visible. Mayor's report, there were 3 permits so far this year, and it is 125 for all. Committees, streets and lights. Sean Yingling believes that we may be getting charged for some of the lights that were removed. Janet Hoover is no longer at Penelec. Sean Yingling will be checking into a new contact person at Penelec. Streetscape stated that they would pay to have the trees on Main Street professionally trimmed. Park and buildings. LaDon Yingling gave an update on the park tree trimmings. Personnel will be presented in executive session. Right to know report. Robert Lee's signature is needed to complete one of the requests received. Finance and Treasurer's report. Secretary Trent discussed park donations. Secretary Trent explained that if money has not been received or a payment was not received, there is a dash in the column. Secretary Trent will call Swift and get the total premium amount, send in the payment, and create invoices for Beccaria and White Township. Vice President Swager made a motion to pay all upcoming bills to keep the borough running until the next meeting. LaDon Yingling second, all ayes, motion carried. Vice President Swager made a motion to advertise for the Water Authority seat. Sean Yingling second, all ayes, motion carried. Fire company reported that the poker float will be July 12th, 2020 at 10 a.m. Executive session for litigation joined by Glendale Volunteer Fire Department started at 8:11 p.m. and ended at 8:45 p.m. Executive session for personnel started at 8:45, ended at 9:02 p.m. Vice President Swager made a motion to adjourn. LaDon second, all ayes, motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 9:03 p.m. in the community room. Next meeting will be August 3rd, 2020 at 7 p.m. or by call of the chair.
Mr. Spade, I don't know what you need to do with your cameras and your phone, but do it.
Yeah, about one way to do that.
I have to turn the volume down on this.
Thank you, Noah. The audit meeting, please.
Audit review meeting of Coalport Borough, July 16th, 2020. Meeting called at 6:30 p.m. in the community room. Present council members were President Barbie Trent, Vice President Kevin Swager, LaDon Yingling, Sean Yingling, Mayor Margaret Madalena, absent council member Robert Lee. Visitors and guests, Diane Byers, Paul Link, Katie Viscavi, Gerald Spade. Katie Viscavi explained the layout of the report. President Trent told the council about the QuickBooks webinar done by PSAB that Secretary Trent and other interested members would like to take. Vice President Swager asked the auditors if they could recommend an outside source for bookkeeping. Paul Link said that he would let council know. DCED approved the audit. Coalport Borough net positive $16,842. Lincoln Associate gave Secretary Trent back the 2018 records. Coalport Borough will not be penalized for the 2019 audit not being complete yet due to the COVID-19 virus. Paul Link is willing to negotiate the final fee to help the borough get back on track. The final fee will be determined by the hours put into the audit. Vice President Smarter would like the council to get together and help Secretary Trent get the 2019 records ready for the audit. Vice President Smarter made a motion to adjourn. Sean Ameling, second. All ayes, motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 7:12 p.m. in the community room. Next meeting will be August 3rd, 2020 at 7 p.m. at College.
So any, corrections, changes, additions? I have a motion to accept the reading of both the regular scheduled meeting and the honor review meeting. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by aye. Any nays? Okay, motion passed.
Thank you for the reading of the minutes. And
Okay, visitors and guests. Mr. Nardelli.
Well, we're guys out on with Terry William. I tried watching the video, but I got sick of all the false statements put across the screen.
Mr. Nardelli, let's keep it positive.
I am. I'm positive about it.
We signed the letter of commitment. I know that she was working on we did a list of, the properties with addresses, and, Mary has worked on the grant, and now it's just waiting.
I see the paper where our voters is going in with that in Reed Township, the Cary Township. too,
It's
also.
Gary, us, Arbona, Reed, and White.
Yeah.
That's about where we're at right now.
Right.
Anything else? Scott?
I'm just inquiring about permits down at the medical center. We're thinking about resurfacing the parking lot, patient parking lot, staff parking lot. Do I need a permit to resurface this parking lot?
Just resurface it? No, because it's
No,
an existing,
okay.
it's an existing.
Unless you're gonna add on.
No, it's just gonna be resurfaced, and then we're also going to take out, extend our parking lot a little bit by taking off that flower bed that's in the front of the patient parking lot, putting a new wall up. Do I need a permit for that?
Yes,
Okay, so it's basically landscaping is what it's gonna be. So I do need a permit for that.
that section, yes.
Okay, then the last one is, we're gonna be, the storage room that we have outside, we're not building a structure, we're just gonna rehab that to make it an infection control room. So I'm gonna have somebody come in to put some drywall up.
No, it's still standing.
It's still standing, same thing with the doors, I'm replacing all the doors to a non-touch door for infection control
No.
purpose as well.
That's all right.
Okay, so I just need the landscaping then. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Spade? Yeah.
no comment right now.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, old business. The minute card hearing, I arrived for the hearing and discovered that it was canceled, so I made a trip to Clearfield for basically nothing. But it will be rescheduled. Yes, it is. I have no idea why it was canceled. I got there, got in the door, told them why I was there, and they told me that it was canceled, so. I mean, they're,
Courthouse shut down.
well, no, because it wasn't shut down at that time.
That was Friday.
That happened Friday, but our hearing was earlier in the week.
The gatekeeper at the front there that you go through, it was scheduled, I saw it. And the attorneys drove in from Pittsburgh, so they were very upset.
Oh, yeah, their attorney was.
So they were unaware.
Noelle called concerning the SWIFT payment and talked to, we wanted to pay for the entire year so that she could do the whole thing. And I called myself And I was assured that the amount that we were told is actually the little over the $9,000. Because remember last year, we got hit again in May for some reason. But this woman assures me that's not gonna happen. That little over $9,000 is for the entire year from August to August. Noel got me out the invoice. I looked, it says August 2020 to August 2021. I'm assured with that full payment, that's exactly what it was. And even the woman told me that when we thought we were paying for the entire year, it was not paid for the entire year. It was only 4,000 and some odd dollars, and then another payment was made. It was not paid in full like we thought it was. Water Authority, we had put an ad in the progress for the vacant chair. We received one letter of interest. Dear Council, I have been a resident of the borough since 1976, and I feel that I have what will be needed to represent the borough of Coalport on the BCIMA Water Board. This letter is to notify the borough that I am interested in serving on the board and to take any issues that the borough may have with the Water Authority to the table. Sincerely yours, Joseph Adam. Is the only letter that we got after advertising. So, what do you want to do?
Well, if there's anyone who's interested,
I need a motion.
I have a motion to appoint Joe Allen to be salary board.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Noel, would you please send a letter to Mr. Adam and let him know that he will be appointed to the Water Authority, please? Office hours. Apparently, I need to alliterate, there is a sign that states that the borough offices, you need to make an appointment. There are a lot of offices that are not open to the public to just walk in. We hold meetings because we have to. It is required by law. The borough has to hold a meeting to conduct business once a month. We have to. We have to keep the borough up and running, and we have to make decisions, and it has to be done once a month. That is the law. If the borough does not hold a meeting once a month, we are in violation of upholding the law. Now, as far as, you know, the viruses and stuff, the borough, you have to call and make an appointment, and it is, we have a notice back there on the door, and we also had a notice in the newspaper along with other municipalities in the county of Clearfield stating that borough offices are not open. And we were handling requests because we were being
Courteous.
We were what?
Courteous.
We were being courteous to the residents of Coalport and other people. And this is for public safety, why things are being handled this way. So please be kind, be courteous, please call. Any comments?
Are you granting permission
For what?
to go to the office? I didn't
If
hear
you
that.
call and make an appointment?
Well, I've had several requests and have been denied, so.
For what? For calling and making an appointment?
Freedom of information, yes, we still have those to be, those appointments requested in writing.
For what?
Well, you have a determination from Harrisburg that you I still have the right to see the documents that I requested.
For the minute book and stuff?
Yeah.
Yes, you can view the minute book, but they don't leave her sight. You can't take the minute book
Oh.
out of her possession.
I never asked that. I'm asking for an appointment to come and in fulfillment of a final determination by Harrisburg.
Sure you can.
Well, that's why I was asking. You are granting
You need
permission.
to call and make an appointment for a time that she will be present.
Well, the request is there.
Then call and make an appointment.
Okay.
Yeah, as long, you're there when the hours, you're supposed to be there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still by appointment.
Yeah, I
Our
understand.
office hours are not our regular office hours anymore
Why won't they be?
because of the virus. Kevin, what I'm telling you is they're not open.
I understand that, but yeah, as long as,
Office
I mean,
hours.
that she's there the hours she's supposed to be there.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm just gonna
I
ask if
just-
some of the calls come in that could be done over the phone, they can do that instead, right?
Yeah, whenever I had a
She was
webinar with
handling
the
as
open
much as
record
possible
office,
over
they
the phone.
said that only appointment as needed. Like if it was something that I didn't see was drastic or very important, then I could handle it over the phone rather than do a face-to-face appointment.
Is that as long as we're in like the green, is that correct?
Correct.
So if it's in a yellow, red, then.
There are people that don't even have office hours open. Like my attorney, everything's
So
done.
that's why I
by the phone.
asked if a lot of the stuff that are business, a lot of it can be done over the phone if
Correct.
possible because of, yes. I
But because there's things of his that need to be taken care of, we'll take care of it. Because
Thank you.
it needs to be taken care of.
Thank you, Madam President.
But we're not gonna get carried away here, because we're dealing with a pandemic, and we're not gonna put anybody in jeopardy. Because there are 4 other people who, it's been reported, now have the virus in the local area. And I'm sorry, I'm not putting anybody on a whim in jeopardy, and it's just not gonna happen. And that includes you yourself, Mr.
The
Spade,
library is open.
as far as I know, yes. And that's their decision. I'm not responsible for the library. I'm responsible for everybody in this room and these people here and her as an employer and Walt and her. And I still advise them, you stay within 6 feet away from each other and you don't hang on top of each other. And that's why we're meeting here. I'm still asked by the mayor, why can't we meet in the conference room? Because she can't hear what's going on. People have reported that they can't hear your camera, that the sound is muffled. And why can't we meet out there? And I said, there's not enough distance. It's my decision for us to meet in this room, even though the sound quality isn't good.
Well, I have gloves and masks, and she doesn't have to really sit in the room. She can look through the glass and observe me looking at the minute books in the chambers.
And that's fine, however, because that minute book is her responsibility, it's how she wants to handle it. But everybody's health and well-being is my responsibility.
But actually, a counselor needs to be there when I'm there.
And we have said that all along.
Yeah.
So when you call and make an appointment, I'm 5 houses down the street.
Thank you, Madam President.
I have another question on that. Don't worry. Just curiosity, because I really don't know. If like say, for instance, I call a meeting to make a reopen meeting books, okay? Just because I want to look over, see what's going on.
And you as a resident, well, anybody, even if you're not a resident, you have the right to see that motion.
Would I be allowed to take photos or videos of the minute book?
Yes,
Okay. I'm just curious.
yes. You are permitted copies of the minute book.
Okay. Thank you.
But again, that minute book does not leave her possession.
I understand, yeah, that I understand.
We already determined the next one, so I'm not worried about it. Okay, Mary Glass, our tax collector, contacted me. And she has this expense sheet. And this expense sheet, at the bottom of it, says about, to get it notarized. Now, the thing of it is, these expenses are the same expenses that she has every year. It's envelopes, you know, yeah, same thing every year. What they had suggested, because the borough is responsible for reimbursing her for her expenses, which means we are responsible also to reimburse her for the notary expenses. Now, meaning that her expenses do not change. We know that she needs the envelopes, we know that she needs the stamps, those sort of things. It is not a requirement. It was a requirement by us at one time that it be notarized that these are the expenses. What we were discussing is to cut down on the cost. Being that it's an ongoing, the same exact thing, time after time, it's not a different expense. I was wondering if you would be all right to making a motion that the notary fee would not be needed on these regular run-of-the-mill expenses.
The county requested notarization. And
For county
Yeah.
expenses, she is still going to get notarized. She's just requesting it for the borough expenses.
I didn't charge at all, I just notarized.
Thank you.
The 1 year you charged her $10 a page.
In the August 3rd, 2020 Coalport Borough Council meeting, a statement was made by the president of Coalport Borough Council without any foundation or merit. Statement was that the notary public, the Reverend Gerald W. Spade Sr., charged Mary Glass, Coalport Borough tax collector, $10 per page for notary work. The statement was falsification to authorities, official councilors. The finding of fact is, on July 14, 2020, at 10:45 a.m., the notary public charged nothing for the official act of notarizing documents for the Coalport Borough tax collector. The official notary invoice reflects no charge. A notary is permitted to charge $5 per seal and a reasonable clerical fee. The president's statement was falsification to the public and to authorities. On August the 4th, 2020, at 3:21 p.m., before 3 witnesses, the president of council admitted that her statement in open session of Coalport Borough Council was a violation of 18 PA CS 4904 relating to unsworn falsification to authorities. A notary public is an agent of the State Department of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Making statements to an agent of the State Department, sworn or unsworn, is punishable by law. Councilors making statements fall under 18 PA CS 4904 and other statutes. And when the borough officials make statements in public meetings, they are unsworn statements subject to 18 PA CS 4904 because the meeting is a lawful public meeting for the borough residents and taxpayers. The public officials have taken an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America and to uphold the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The oath includes compliance to the statutes of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Falsification to authorities is punishable offense by law. Making false statements in hearing distance of a notary public is a reportable matter. The question is, has councilors falsified statements and misrepresented the truth in the past?
No.
Yes, well, we're not
I'd
gonna
like to
argue
see
it,
that.
we're not going to argue it. Anyway, so, this is what, if y'all would be agreeable. I mean,
I'll make a motion to eliminate the notary on the expense sheet for the borough.
do I have a second?
I'll say.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Park equipment. Walt called me today and he reported that we had some vandalism.
Are our cameras picking anything up?
Because of the tree damage, the cameras were taken down, we have to get the cameras reinstalled. The park equipment that was damaged were our seesaws. So, he went down and he removed them, because they were damaged, he didn't want anybody getting hurt, and he brought them up. So at some point in time, they will be, repaired and replaced. And
Damage how? What do you do?
I don't know, I didn't know whether Walt was gonna be here tonight, but
It was just the season.
it was just the seesaws that were damaged this time around.
What do we need to do to get the cameras back?
Well, we were waiting until the trees were all taken care of and then get the cameras back up, but I was thinking about maybe possibly, putting them somewhere else a little bit more stable. We'll have to go down and kind of pace out the place, but I have a couple ideas, but I really don't want to verbalize that on camera. I want to keep that, so,
Well, the sooner the better, obviously. For what it's worth, because we had the tree damage on video, right, and that didn't help anyway. So, remember that when you will.
so,
Do you know if this is something we can fix? Did you look at it?
oh yeah, it's fixable. They're fixable, so, yeah, not a problem, just wanted to let y'all do that. So, in your stack of papers here, you have a policy and a I was looking, I'm sorry, lost the squirrel. And as unfortunate as it is, I have been advised to do this. And tonight couldn't have been a better night. Thank you, Mr. Spade, for the noise.
I apologize,
I know.
I forgot to turn the volume off, and those bells are jobs.
Oh, front and back, never mind. I was like picking it up, we missed a page. Anyway. The guidelines will be posted within the room has to be, the guideline has to be posted so that everyone is aware of the guidelines, the policy. But the resolution to be adopted, this will be resolution number what?
3.
Okay. Are we on 3?
Yeah, you guys only had 2 resolutions for this year so far.
Oh, we're slacking.
We better get busy.
Okay. Anyway. Have you had a chance to read the resolution?
I did.
Basically, the guideline is to set a standard where the council meeting cannot be interrupted with the use of video audio equipment, has to fall within the standards of federal law, state, local government, can't violate any laws with the use of video audio equipment. Cannot disrupt council meetings, cannot be in the walkways, safety issues. You will only be permitted to have one device. You have to keep it within your person. You have to have it under your control at all times.
And I have copies of the policy over there.
Electrical cords have to be secure so that nobody can trip on them.
Like your number 7, where you say it should remain stationary and no individuals permitted to walk throughout the room designated for the meeting, causing a disruption. That was although we've never had it happen, that was a good point to put in.
The resolution has to be enacted by roll call vote. Are you ready for the roll call vote? Kevin Jordan.
No, I'm good.
Oh, you're ready?
Mhm.
No, go ahead.
President Barbie Trent,
Yes.
Vice President Kevin Swager,
Yes.
Robert Lee,
Yes.
LaDawn Newland,
Yes.
Sean Newland,
Yes.
Okay, resolution number 3 for year 2020 is passed as of today. I lost my agenda. Okay. On to committee reports, mayor's report.
One permit this past month, $50.
Oh, I actually did one, it would have been on Thursday for Dan. He got $15 permit.
Okay, 15, so 60,
65.
65 total for this month. And I'm going to start a group. I don't feel it should just be myself, but I'm going to call it the Mayor's Coalition for working on the blighted properties, okay? because we have a large number of properties. And we'll take them, we'll see which ones we work on first. Some are almost impossible to work on.
I have a list that I got of the properties down at my house. So it wasn't a wasted trip on Wednesday. I went over to the tax assessment office. They gave me a list of properties and the dates of those properties that they have been in tax sale.
Good.
So I have that list, but I forgot to bring it, but I can get it for you.
I hope by next month I have more to report than just that I'm going to institute that.
Yeah, they have the year and everything that,
That's good.
since
That will
the
help.
properties have entered tax sales. Is that everything?
That's all I have.
That's all you have? Streets and Lights Committee, Sean.
I have a general email out to Penwood,
Okay,
so I'm trying to find a contact person
okay,
that handles our bills.
all right. Anything else? The Ladon Park and Building.
I called the tech school, once they're up and running, as long as they stay in the green, then they don't see a problem with getting started, what we would want for park benches and so on. Trees, I'm still working on that a little bit. I have a feeling a lot of this stuff will probably happens towards spring.
Okay. Kevin.
Yeah, I don't have anything at the moment. I didn't get a chance to talk to Walt. I know Chris filled in for a couple of weeks. Chris Knoll helped him out for,
Yeah.
now who was with him? Was Chris still with him? I passed the other day, I couldn't really tell.
Was Chris with him the other day?
I thought you only had 2 weeks.
Yeah, Kirk only had 2 weeks. He came back on Monday.
He did, okay. Gotcha, all right. That's about all. Last time I talked to Walt, I said, I would like, to see around the stop signs, everything cleared out on the back streets, swept up.
Yeah.
So, gotta get on them about that, so.
I know that we're supposed to be getting somebody that's doing community service, but he's a 15-year-old. And I told him to let me know because I'll
They have to get
watch him. Because we have to be careful what he does.
Right.
He can't be on any major highways, can't work any motorized equipment, cannot be around any chemicals.
Maybe around a
Can't
weed
work on
eater?
lawnmower. Yeah, he can't do anything like that. I mean, he can pull staples, he can do cleaning, he can pick up trash, but he can't do it like on Main Street or anything like that. Like, he can pick up trash down on the park, like, you just have to be careful what he does.
I think that would be a good thing for the back streets, the back alleys. If we could, walk along in a bag or bucket, something.
Yeah, he has 50 hours, but Walt did not know who the kid was,
Okay.
so I'm not sure. But he's gonna find out for us, and we'll have, well, the 15-year-old for 50 hours worth anyway. So,
Okay, if it gets into interfering with Walt and Kurt's work, I'd be happy to spend some time with them.
I told him I keep an eye on him too.
So, all right.
Okay. Finance committee.
I don't know much. We did confirm that the electric bills have noticeably began to drop since we made the change in July. And we had decided also that we weren't going to be paying Penlac out of liquid fuels. And although we can't make the change now, one of the changes we would like to make, financially speaking, at the first of the year, is to go back to the fee for the park rather than the donation, because we found that that didn't really work out well. And that's all we have at this point.
Okay. Yeah, we can't do that.
We had, 2 right to know requests this past month. There was one on July 7th and one on the 14th.
What's it mean by amended request?
It was changed.
All right. From the request required on July the 7th? No.
Actually,
No.
I actually did it the same day. I forgot to do something and also it was typo, so.
Okay.
But you have to announce that it's an amended.
Is request number 3 what I think it is? Request a copy of the GBFD's contract served to Coalport Borough Council in an open session of council on a previously monthly regular meeting. Is that thing that you requested that I show you and I told you to look at it, that you couldn't have a picture of it?
I believe he's talking about the actual contract, not that agreement that you gave Jack.
I didn't give Jack an agreement. I gave him a piece of paper.
Well, I got the letter
Yeah.
that the attorney sent, which I thank the AORO for that. Agency's Open Records Officer.
Well, now, I'm kind of confused about request number 3 on the amended thing. I don't know what you want.
I don't have my copies here. I do have them in the.
Well, it says request 3, request a copy of the GBFD's contract
Yes.
served to Coalport Borough Council. in
No,
open
no,
session.
Al knew what I was saying. I wanted the contract.
The actual contract?
Yes.
But I filed an extension for that.
Oh, okay.
But I did receive the letter that was offered in council.
Okay. Well, that's not a contract, it was a letter.
So
That's why I'm asking when.
I'm asking for a copy of it. Whenever it's released, I'd like to see it, you know, the contract.
Well, yeah. Not a problem. Public knowledge.
So that's pending.
Right.
No, Al's been very quick to respond, and I appreciate that. I did receive the total bill for the attorneys up until April, and I see by the docket, which I received a copy of the docket from the county for free.
I think that's all we have.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's the only bill that we got so far.
Okay.
But she's been filing motions and being proactive for you, so she's doing a good job. But you spent $3,500 fighting a public person who had the lawful right to see documents.
Some of them you did, some of them you did not.
Well, the final determination says that I have the right to see them.
But we were in negotiation with the fire company, and those fire company documents you were not entitled to see according to the right to know law.
She ruled.
Well, I understand that, but you know what? Sometimes I think you get your own way because you send in 16 pages of bullshit crap, and people just give you what you want to get rid of you, and I'm sorry, I'm not like that, and I won't.
I think that's really demeaning of Harrisburg, who would never do that. They did,
They did, and we were
She
in
said that
negotiations.
you didn't have a lawful right. It's public knowledge. It's up online, the whole dissertation and my pleadings, and the final determination is up there also.
Mr. Spade, you turned into that woman, complaints about how she does her job, and that I'm the president of council, and she is my daughter, and that I am a firefighter in Reed Township, which has nothing to do with Coalport Borough, and has absolutely nothing to do with your case. Enough said. And she let it go. Anything else on right to know?
Has the fire company received their $3,500?
No. Because they're not due $3,500.
The contract was never approved?
I didn't say that. They're not due $3,500. We agreed to 2 payments, not $3,500.
Thank you for correction. But the 2 payments are going to be made in 2020?
The fire company agreed to work with us.
Thank you, Madam President.
I don't have that paper.
This,
Yeah.
would you like to see now?
Correct, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll just click on this one.
See how we share. All right, moving on to the finance and treasury report.
Yeah, I can see it. Just far out of the right. I have your eye or far out.
Is there a reason why these are empty again?
Because I don't have any information to put into those yet.
I don't understand how you don't have any information from June to put in the financial report. How can we pass something when we don't know what the numbers are? It was always filled in before, but now the last couple of months we haven't had it. We can't work with this. This doesn't tell us anything.
Because we haven't gotten, where are you looking at?
Well, look at, I mean, from the employee, all of us, that's empty. They were never empty before. But the last 2 months or so, they have been, and there's no reason for it. That isn't telling us anything. We don't know what, okay,
No,
we don't
you do
know what
what
our
I
expenditures
suggest.
were, and we don't know what our expenditures were in June for
I
gross
was going
wages.
to, yeah, but I'm learning how to do journal entries now.
Learning how to do what?
The journal entries for the employee cost category.
Which is what Scott was helping you with when we got here.
This is very important. This is, this is what we budgeted everything off of, and now we don't know what we spent for employee wages in June. what we put into that for July, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. Because if we don't know what we have or what we spent, that has to be done. I'm telling you, we don't know what we spent in June for employees.
Does Mrs. McCusker give you a report?
Yeah, she does.
Could you do me a favor and what does the report look like that Catherine got?
It has the social security and the Medicare that comes out.
Could you give us, until you get these journal entries done, could you just give us a copy of the Borough report?
Yeah, that's fine. It's just a copy of the pay stubs.
Yeah, just give us
Yeah,
a
that's
copy.
the report that she gives, it's the pay stub.
Okay, give us those.
We have to have.
Because you know what? I don't think any of us are too lazy that we can't look at a copy of somebody's pay stubs. Until we can get those journal entries done. Hold up a minute.
Thank you.
Until we can get these journal entries done, I don't think any of us are too stinking lazy that we can't look at a couple pay stubs and see what the year-to-date total is. So please, when you get those reports from Catherine, let's look at those pay stubs, a copy of those pay stubs, so we know what we're looking at, okay?
Thank you, Madam President.
And just get them on here.
I don't know. I was just guessing.
Did you say you found out why the street lighting?
Oh, yeah, I have an email.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, some of them don't have it. Yes, it has to be done. Do we know what we paid out last year total in streetlights? I mean, we're at almost $12,000 already. And
Kevin, everybody's streetlights, or
how much
everybody's.
is for last year? Do we know what we paid out last year compared to where we're at?
It was around, it was in the ballpark of around 7,000 last year. Between 7 and 8,000.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big jump.
It was.
Crazy.
Streetlights are all in liquid fuels now, is that correct?
No, streetlights are not. Until we can get the audit straightened around and get the liquid fuels, money to be dispersed. We don't wanna be digging into the liquid fuel money to, because we pay Kirk and Malt's wages from liquid fuels. You know, whatever road work they do, that's paid out of liquid fuels, so we don't wanna be taking street lighting out of that.
Thank you. But I thought I heard in 2 meetings ago that you were switching everything to,
And that is what,
When I went through finances from the last finance meeting, I said that we just had voted to not touch the liquid fuels for the electric bills.
thank you.
you know what? Let's do I'm calling for a motion on that because I want to make sure that our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed, just to double check and be sure. It's not gonna hurt. Because if we made a motion to pay out of liquid fuels and now we're deciding not to pay out any liquid fuels, I don't want any mistakes. So can I have a motion not to pay the street lighting out of liquid fuels, please?
I'll make the motion not to.
Okay.
Letting out of the liquid fuels.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Okay, motion carried. Oh, I'm sorry, any opposed? Okay, now the motion is carried.
It's not unlawful to do it, take it out of liquid fuels.
No, it's not, but if we made a motion to do that at some point in time and now we're deciding not to do that, I would rather have a motion on the floor than just make that decision.
Right.
Although it's not unlawful for us to make that executive decision for the good of the borough, I just don't want anything to come back and bite me.
Thank you, Madam President.
This is only what, August?
Mm-hmm.
That's what, almost $12,000, we haven't budgeted $8,000.
Yeah, because that thing we said last year was around $8,000.
So, a few months here to go.
You have, right now, you have electric companies, your garbage bill, your electric bill. You know, there's probably people out there where water and sewage has been hit like that. I mean, but we're, we have a local, low grade, not that they're low grade, that they're not a good company, but you know what I mean. But there's probably people out there that have been hit so hard with, rising utility costs, it's unreal. And everybody was hit with electric costs and things like that. And they're within the right to do it. That's what Waste Management told me.
What I think also happened was, remember the whole first quarter got away with us not realizing we were paying that outrageous amount of money
That's right.
for the lights. By the time we realized that we were in the second quarter, we corrected it, but that amount of money still, it
Takes a while.
was gone at that point. And that, I think, is what helped drive it up so much more than it was last year.
It's hard to recap that money too, it's already gone.
Right, right.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously can't water the bridge, is water the bridge.
Right. There'll be a lot of water here though, at the streetlights.
Yeah.
You still haven't been able to get an engineer from Penelec to work with you? Is that what I heard?
Sean has been in contact with Penelec. The person that we had working with us before is no longer with them. He's trying to find somebody, a replacement to work with us. And find out what in the world happened here.
What is our timeline for 19 or on the audit?
On the audit, Scott and Noel are working on that now.
Okay. I mean, as far as we're gonna find someone that's,
Noel has a list of auditors for us
okay.
to go through.
When do we think that might be done? So any idea?
I have not, I
Okay.
honestly don't know.
As far as talking to have everything in place for whoever we get to get it.
Yeah, like, the only thing we have to work on fixing is the QuickBooks. Everything else, like the paper trail and everything, it's all there.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll have to reconcile your cash, make sure your cash is reconciled for 19, which I don't believe it is. But to make sure your payroll's put in, you got your payroll reports to put in for all 19, so you'll have to do individual journal entries for that, you'll have to reclassify the expenses. There's some work, I mean, if you think it's gonna happen like within 2 weeks or whatever, to have somebody come and look at it, it's not gonna happen.
Okay.
I mean, you gotta put some time in it. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Because you gotta get the book straight for 18, so whatever they gave you on the DCD, you gotta make sure QuickBooks matches that first. And then you move forward, then you can lock 18, so nothing goes back into it, go to 19, reconcile everything from January to December, and then move forward.
Okay. We see we got some work to do then, right?
Yeah, there's work to do, yes, that's my opinion.
Right, right. That's gonna have to be our main concern. We have to get that, we definitely need the liquid fuels and get that straightened out, so whatever we gotta do as a team here to do it, we need to do that.
She's got the paper trail laid out, but it's gonna be basically the QuickBook work. So,
There was $14,000 in miscellaneous that hasn't been rectified. I thought that was an issue that we dealt with in 2019.
she has the paperwork, Vernon's got three more here on
Yeah, that's what, too much miscellaneous.
It's just about class fencing, that's where it comes, like, you guys can get all involved in that, most likely, to say, okay, this electric bill, this bill, there might be 6 of them come in, but 5 of them might go to the general fund, 1 might go to streetlights, okay, which would be the special revenue fund. So that's a decision you guys make, where, you got park fund, you got general fund, this expense goes here, and kind of make a detailed list and say, okay, if this bill comes in from Bugles, this goes here.
Right.
And class it to there, it goes under this account number plus, general fund or special revenue fund.
Okay.
And then that way it makes it easy for her, whenever she goes there, it says, oh, Bugles, that goes here, and it's general fund. So in class, you just drop it down and make it general fund.
Okay, when we get a bill from Penelite for the park, for lights, then we know which ones are for lights,
it.
right?
She knows what
Okay.
all of the bills are, she has them written by accounts and everything.
And pretty much you got 2 expenses, that's it, or two funds. You got your special revenue and then you got your general fund. So if you're only doing expenses for the payroll for the 2 maintenance guys, that should only be, it's pretty easy for that, and everything else is flows through the general fund.
Right. All right.
Make a motion to accept the finance report.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Any opposed?
Yeah.
Motion passed. Do I have a motion to pay bills, keep for running until the next council meeting?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills and keep our running.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second
Ladon seconds it. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Go to the borough. Anybody have anything to go to the borough? On August 14th, 14th and 15th. I reserved the park for a weekend revival. And I wanted to ask permission to be in the park a little bit after it closes. If it would be okay. We're supposed to close the park at dusk. And I wanted to know if it would be okay for us to be there after dark for a little bit.
How long was you thinking? An hour?
Well, it's scheduled until around 10 o'clock. I mean, I don't have anybody scheduled until, the last person I've scheduled is scheduled at 9. And then to get everybody, out of there and clean up, should be out of there by 10.
You have any kind of lighting or anything?
Well, the street lights and stuff are down there. I was just gonna put Christmas lights and stuff up. Nothing drastic.
It'd be in the open area, but most of that.
The pavilions and stuff. I don't expect, we're dealing with Panda. I don't expect a lot of people to be there.
Yeah, I know they had one a few years ago, they sounded with the Assembly of God.
It's just a praise and worship kind of deal.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with it.
That's good.
I was gonna say, I don't have one.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have anything else?
Is that to the public?
Yes. Actually, the ministers, every hour, there'll be a different minister speaking every hour. And it'll be the local ministers in the area. So, it's open to the public, anybody can come.
What time does that start?
Friday it'll be 6 to 10, and on Saturday it'll be 11 to 10. I had asked the local fire companies to kind of get together to provide like foods if they wanted to sell food, since their fundraising efforts have been kind of nil. And the only one that was on board was Reed. So there'll be food there. I had talked to them about like funnel cakes, hot sausages, that kind of stuff. You might have a smoke maker like for the kids and things like that. People said, why don't you bring some people in, bring vendors in? I said, absolutely not, no way. Not bringing anybody in from the outside. Self-food. If it doesn't work out with the fire companies, then I'll just, advertise that, pack a picnic lunch for your families, but I won't bring people in that, the fair vendors and stuff that have been around selling food at fairs. It's just too much noise. Anything else?
Did you get any donations for the park?
Yes.
You mean for this?
No, I promised that the Presbyterians would give you a good donation.
Oh,
I thought maybe she'd give me the cut.
I thought you meant for the revival, for,
No, I'm sorry. I jumped track. We don't have reports of the committees.
we did give reports of the committees.
Okay.
Yes.
That's why I mentioned that we weren't going to use liquid fuels for talent.
Oh, okay.
Anything else? I have a motion.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Have a second.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. At 8:21.